Hey, what's up guys? Today, let's look at a little bit of front-end development as well. Now we have done quite a few things in terms of pushing our application to Heroku. We have our listing of videos which are unpublished for the admin, and I thought why don't we do a little more progress on the front end so that the APIs which we are building can be consumed by the front end very soon. So let's see if what I have done so far and what I'm going to explain it to you in this video. So I have this main page where I have this login link. If I click, the login form comes up. If we put in the correct credentials, so far in the video we were storing the token in the cookie. But now what I have done is once you click login, it takes you to this page, my videos, where all the videos are listed. All of them are published videos, right? So we are going to see what we have done to get all these things. There is navigation being added, the layout has been added. So quite a few things have gone in, and I will walk you through all of them one by one. So let's go back to Visual Studio Code. And the first thing which I have done is, obviously on the home page, I have this link which is using the Next link component. It is important to understand that if you're working with Next, the link tag should be used so that we get that SPA kind of a feel. Otherwise, you will see a normal page reload if you use a simple A tag. Okay, so you have href in the link tag as a prop, and then you have a normal A tag. So any classes or any styling information can go into the A tag, but the href should be in the link component. Okay, so that's done. Then what we have done is, if you remember, let's open up the login thing. In the login, we have our login form, and that login form is calling the auth service handle login. So let's see what changes we have done over here. So after handle login, I have added this route.push dashboard. Okay, so if the status code is 200, then it means basically our authentication has passed and we can safely take the user to the dashboard page. Okay, after obviously storing the cookies. So once that is done, we land up on our dashboard page. The dashboard page uses a layout to render itself. Okay, the layout has the navigation on top, then it is rendering the children which is coming as a prop, right? So the navigation again is a simple bootstrap menu, nothing too fancy about it. Okay, I don't go into the markup and everything, but yes, so the layout is like this. So we are able to use that layout. Then we have our title. So if you see, this is what is coming here, and then I have done a loop. I have checked the length of the videos. If the length is more than 0, then I am doing a map and I am returning this markup. Okay, this is still not final because there is room for refactoring. So we will do that. But what I want you to understand is, so I'm expecting an array of videos, right? And if the length is more than 0, which means at least there is one video, I'm running the map function. So now the question is, how do we get the videos? So let's go up. Okay. So because this is a functional component, so we have use state and use effect. In our use state, we have videos, which is set to an empty array by default. And then inside use effect, we are calling this function fetch videos, which is calling the video service to get the videos for that particular user. And once we get that, we set it to the state. However, there are a few things which are important for us to understand. Use effect cannot be an asynchronous function, and hence we are just calling fetch videos. The fetch video function is an async function which is calling the video service fetch user method. Okay, and this empty array means it is going to be executed every time the component mounts on the app. So it's almost like the component did mount kind of the hook which is available with class-based component. Okay. All right. So let's look at how we are fetching the information from fetch user videos, because the API for fetching information about the videos is behind authentication. So how have we made the Axios call and how have we authenticated ourselves? So if you see, video service is a class where we have this static function fetch user videos, and the first thing which we are doing is auth headers. So auth service get user auth header is a function which gives me these auth headers which are passed onto Axios in the headers. So how are we getting this information? Let's look at that. So the get user auth header, what it does is it takes the token from the cookie and it returns an object where the authorization header is added. This object is then sent to Axios as headers, and that's how we have that bearer token thing going on in Axios. Okay, so fine. This service returns the result if the status code is 200, which means once we have a success there, videos has the result coming from the API, and we set the state with the videos which we got. Now I'm doing videos.data.data because if you remember, it's a paginated data, and we are right now only showing 10, and we are interested in only the data part and not the next page, previous page, and all those additional information for now. We will do the pagination eventually, but let's keep it simple for now. Okay, so this is done. So we saw how we have used the video service, fetch user videos, and internally we are also calling the auth services get user auth headers to make an authenticated user's API call. All right. Now, one last thing which I would like to touch upon is if you go down, you will see I have protected route dashboard page. Okay, so what is going on in here? This is what we call in React an higher order component, or HOC. Okay, this HOC is a concept which has emerged where what does an HOC does? If we need to ask that question, what does an HOC do? An HOC takes a component and it adds certain kinds of functionality to it and it returns a new component. That's what it is. Okay, if you imagine HOC like that, so we are passing dashboard page, our component, the page component, to our HOC, and we whatever we get, right, we are exporting that as default. Okay, so now what is happening inside the HOC? So I will tell you the behavior, what exactly is happening. So let me go to the application tab. Now if I refresh, right, you can see I'm on the dashboard page. But if I clear my cookies and if I refresh, I'm taken to the login page. How did that happen? Someone is checking it, right? Well, that's what is happening inside our HOC. So our HOC has this get initial props, which is executed on the server. Okay, what we do is we take the token from the cookies which we have. If we don't find the token, then I am redirecting the user to this location, which is /login. Okay, it's a 302, which means it's a temporary redirect. I am redirecting the user to the login page. But if we find the token, then we are creating an object which is the initial props. Okay, because this function needs to return an object which is the initial props for that particular component. So we are creating this object. If our wrapper component has something in it, then we return that. Otherwise we return this thing where we have the token, the username, and then the query and as path. Okay, and finally in here we are rendering the wrapper component with all the props which we have. Okay, so this is how we are able to create one HOC component which is checking the protected route, and we will be using this across all the routes which needs an authentication. Okay, so this is the concept of HOC. So far we have touched upon quite a few things. We saw how we are redirecting the user after the login. Then we saw how on the dashboard page, we have used the layout. We are using the use state and use effect to fetch information from the API and display it on the dashboard component. We also saw how we are using the auth service to get the token and add it to the authorization header as a bearer token, right? And then the service is calling Axios with those headers and fetching that information. And finally, the concept of HOC, the protected route, how on every page we are going to check whether the token exists or not, and based on that we will either allow the user to look at that page, or we redirect the user back to the login page. So yes, if you like this video, do click on the thumbs up icon, and yes, don't forget to subscribe to my channel.